I've shot videos over here countless times, but as I walk in again today, the word wow just grabs me. I would love to have a space like this, and this is where he builds his airplanes. And we've got videos of the Kitfox and the S9, but they sit in half of the hangar just so well. Kitfox is probably now about maybe 5 years old. He's never washed it, flies it often, and it's spotless. I don't know how this motor does not catch bugs, but well, there's a few bugs, but there's not many. Such a minimalist build, light as a feather. I believe it is 575 because the S9 is 525. But beautiful build, absolutely fantastic. I love it. Minimal instrumentation, just what you need to fly, recreationally that is. Can't really fly into a controlled space with this. You need ADS-B, and you really do need a good radio, and be nice to have moving maps and all that stuff. But there's room here for something. Move what's there and put an iPad in the middle is perhaps what I would do. But I love these little Rotex. 100 horsepower, it's enough to get this guy doing anything Tom wants it to do. And that gear is Tom's own invention. I've seen one wheel 2 feet up from where it sits under load. So when you take the load off and you're flying, they're about 12 inches lower than what they look like now. So when it lands, the center of the axle can almost make it up to the lowest point of the aircraft, which is really impressive. Very soft landing, and it's for Tom to land on very uneven ground, like our front field / front yard. I might cover the tail if I were to be thinking about a plane like this, only because yes, it adds a few pounds, but I believe it would go a little bit faster. And that's the only issue I have with this, is that it's very slow. 90 is the absolute top end, and Tom flies mostly around at about 70. But 70 in a straight line, going wherever you want to go, is still pretty quick. Locally, you can get wherever you want far faster than you could drive. Now the S9, by comparison, is a speed machine. This thing, to hear it and to watch it, same horsepower, lighter, smaller, sleeker, and it purrs like a kitten. I've said it countless times on every video that I shoot, that it's the quietest, smoothest aircraft I've ever seen, ever videotaped. Engine fits in there with not a lot of spare room. There's no need for spare room, but there ain't a lot of spare room anywhere. Clearance of millimeters in places. Looks like Tom's put a new oil cooler on it. I'll have to ask him when he gets home. But what a fabulous little guy. That's the Rans S9. And I would never fly one. I think because the only way you can fly one of these is to get in it and fly it. You can't have a buddy take you around, show you the numbers. The Kitfox, I could jump in, Tom could remind me of the numbers, and then he of course could jump out and everything's good. But with something with a single seat, I know it's blatantly obvious, but you're on your own, and you're on your own from when you fire that engine up to when you turn it back off again. So you have to be confident for your first flight. I could not imagine doing it. I'd be terrified. The only issue Tom's had since building it is what he calls these spades, and they are aerodynamic assistance for the surfaces, and if you get the angle wrong, they help at the wrong time. So he had to adjust them a little, and there's nothing wrong with help at the wrong time, but you don't necessarily get help when you want it, and the control surfaces are rather stiff without them. I believe you can fly this plane without them, but they're very stiff. Again, a minimalist build, super light. Fantastic build. Everything that Tom does is just so well done. I can't believe he's never washed his aircraft. It's they look brand new sitting here. They look absolutely perfect. This is, in my opinion, just the best Kitfox I've seen. Would perhaps be better if it had a few more horses, because then it could be a little heavier and go a little faster. It's got plenty of horses with the weight that it's at, and it'll come off the ground in no distance. I've got videos on the site that show him taking off, throttling up at our fire pit and being off the ground 50 feet later. He's taking off on a down slope, and of course it gives you the impression of a much faster climb out, but I've seen him climb out at over 1,000 feet a minute with a ground roll of nothing. I'd say he rolled for 50 feet, maybe it was 75, but extremely impressive. And if you watch the other video, then of course you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He's had a couple of challenges with things vibrating loose and cracking on the exhaust, but he's done some work on that and hasn't had the problem recently. But I think if Rotax did 130 horsepower motor in the same size, it would be fabulous. And of course you can get that with the turbo, but it'd be nice to get 130 normally aspirated. But people prefer turbos. So 915 STI would perhaps be a little faster. I'm guessing 120 cruise compared to this at 90, 95. A lot more horsepower to get a few more miles an hour, but it's nice to have the horsepower on the ground when you're taking off. It's not all about cruise. It's about acceleration as much as it is about anything else. I do love his dumbbell in the back for weight and balance. I think if it was mine, I would have a shot bag, not a dumbbell. It would still kill you if it came off. It's just the dumbbell looks a little more vicious than a bag of shot that at 0 miles an hour feels soft. Of course, at 120 it would still flatten you, but maybe a bolted in or welded in angular box back there with some shot poured in it would be my choice. Except that this is really funny and is a good talking point, and hence nothing wrong with it. I would also want to put maybe a different tail gear. Me not being a tail drag certified guy, I can't really comment on whether this is good, bad, or indifferent. To me, it looks a little flimsy, and I'd like to have some kind of tail stabilization on a different type of rear gear. But I don't know what I'm talking about in that regard. I've never flown a tail dragger. I shouldn't say that. I've never landed a tail dragger. I've flown many. Beautiful shop, beautiful aircraft. It's a Sunday afternoon, and it is so nice to walk into this place. So I figured I would share that. This is a Sunday noon delight.